Oh, we've got a full start room here. Hey there, Dylan here, maker of the map. GM Indoor Spaces is a fully nav-meshed map with lots of interconnectivity, fully indoors as the name implies. This room is here to give you a few options before starting the map proper, and be advised that this map isn't fully optimized for multiplayer. Look at that, it's actually got a story, and we've got some funky psychedelicness going on beyond the vents, as if to emphasize that, well, as you always expect in liminal spaces, there's maybe nothing beyond there. Anyway, story mode. More of a narrative flow. Find lost notes to unravel the fate of the previous inhabitant of the maze. That's interesting, because that's something I speculate on all the time. The idea that someone could have explored these places before me, and I'm just following in their footsteps. Maybe it's not good for me to finally catch up with them. Some areas are locked by progression of the story. However, when you progress to the end, the entire map will be open and available like in adventure mode. GM Indoor Spaces also has a running ambient soundtrack that fits the mood of your particular adventure. Use the settings menu music volume slider to control the music, or to mute it. However, I have been assured that except for one Easter egg, all the music on this map is copyright free, and in fact is actually made by the creator himself, somewhat of a multi-talented individual. And see, I've actually played several maps by this creator before, things like After Hours and Places from Film. And so these maps, they always are sort of a different take on liminality, incorporating a lot of their photography and other such experiences into them. And I always find that that makes them really chill and cozy to get into if the soundtrack wasn't anything to go by. But anyway, I do have to start my intro at some point. Hello everyone, and welcome back once again to Gary's Mod. And today, as you already know, the map we're going to be exploring is GM Indoor Spaces. Having actual story mode in this is really, really cool, and I can't wait to get into it, but the thing that usually gives me pause is this right here, the presence of readable documents, because stuff like this tends to not really play very nicely with VR. However, it seems like maybe the creator thought of that. Pages look like this in story mode. To read one, simply press Use on it. Press Use again to return to the map when you're finished reading. If you do get stuck while reading the page, I put a failsafe in place that you can activate by simply walking away from the page. Player movement isn't locked, even if you can't see yourself. Will do. See, normally I would have Officer Flatscreen do something like this, but I really appreciate the consideration. Now, like I said, I did a little bit of testing outside of VR, and this one didn't seem to come up. The others do. But the thing is, these pages aren't generic assets. We can jump up and read them for ourselves, if all else fails. TTT, test, 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 test. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. A whole lot more character testing. Working. Thank God this thing's working. I keep forgetting things here, and having something I can pour my thoughts into will help greatly. Finding this typewriter was not a straightforward path, so I'll note it here for reference. Oh, this isn't just a test, this is actually the first page of whoever came before us. Awoke in a red room, resembles a bar. That's right here. Opens onto a hallway with a staircase to the left, and door to the right. This is actually giving us hints at what's to come. It's kind of like Alan Wake manuscript pages. Got a bad feeling about the stairs. Went through door. Door led on many nonsensical rooms. Eventually led to what looked like an unfinished apartment, leading to only one door along the hall. That door opened on an intact but heavily disused unit. The unit snakes around and around, leading to yet another single door. That door is where I found it, plus a stack of pages. My only concern is the volume. It's not exactly a super silent. I plan to rest here and collect my thoughts, maybe try to write again. It's been a long time, and it might stave off the loneliness for a time, but I want to investigate those stairs back by the red room. As I was walking away from them, I could have sworn I heard the faint sound of a piano. I don't know how long it's been, but I'll keep moving, just to stay sane at this point. We begin with seemingly normal words from a normal person, but somebody thrust into a decidedly abnormal situation. We don't know how long ago this may have been. Will they still be that way when we find them? Well, I guess we'll have to find out. There's that bar. Okay. We'll do as they said then. We need to take the door on the right when we get started. We've turned off the psychedelics and the music, revealing that there were actually things beyond them all along. At first it seemed so chill, it was like dream jazz. Now things are dark and empty and foreboding. I can hear that piano. Or I did, just fleetingly, just for a second. Okay, this is the way. I don't like the idea that somebody could be staring down from every angle, not helped by the shadows these railings are casting. Hey, I can actually mess with them myself, which makes it even worse when I watch those lights flicker even while I'm staring at the switch. Then again, I suppose it could have been any of them. This overlooks the red staircase. I get the feeling that no matter what, we're going to be led back there, but I was going to go there anyway. It's like a children's room all decorated with glow-in-the-dark stars, but behind an observation window. It's like this interior balcony is also trying to be an exterior balcony. Huh. So far, it all just feels like a strangely shaped home. A very strangely shaped home with a lot of empty space. This is kind of like an attic. You said that it was a unit that just wrapped around and around, but once again, I can't recall which door it was that we actually had to take in the beginning. This right here feels like the kind of thing that I would dream about. Actually, very Bernard's door-esque. Opening a door in the upstairs of my home and finding something like this in industrialized, empty space. Oh no. I don't think this is right. But maybe we can work our way back around. There's so many interior windows here. And those have a habit of freaking me out massively. It's something that just feels like it doesn't belong, and it makes me wonder, what is it inside this space that I so desperately need to see from right here that this would be installed? If anything, it just gives me anxiety, like I'm in a maze with something, and it's going to give me the opportunity to see what's following me in here, but none to actually do anything about it. So it's going to be one of these. Did I hear another door open or close at the same time? It's a drywall renovation nightmare that just never ends. It sort of reminds me of when we moved into my current house. The whole thing was completely gutted and redone, and I always hated being in here because it felt like this. I can't believe it's like the same place that I've spent the last 18 years or so. Once gave me exactly these feelings. Oops. Oops. Oh, I can see it. Hey, look at this. It actually moves my view to someplace else. Second day post-typewriter. Went back to the red room. But something's different. Very, very different. A door. A white wooden door has appeared just behind where I remember waking up. And with it, a green exit sign. A taunt, as the door had a frozen handle. Seized internally, I assume. But that's not the worst of it. Another door has appeared in the hallway. This one with a working knob, but the lock engaged. Frustrating. And a little terrifying. I know these weren't here yesterday. Even my little written record here confirms that. What else can change here? One thing that isn't is my body. I can't say I felt much of anything at all. No hunger, no thirst. Not even the stubble on my jaw has grown. Trying to find a way out so far has proven futile. I just keep finding more rooms, and more rooms lead to more rooms until I've returned from the same place I came. How do you map something that tries to define not just structure, but also reality? And always with a vague sense of somebody around every corner. Need to focus. Brave the stairs. Sure enough, it led to a piano. Not a player one either. Don't like that. Stranger than that. It led onto what appears to be a poor copy of a theater. Winding and curving halls that make no sense, but lead to more halls. However, I have seen a projection booth in one of the theaters. There must be a way to it. More to explore for certain. Not only could you be my co-commentator, you could be me. You're following my exact thought process, more or less. Oh, and I was having a hard time closing away from that, but I was able to walk away, so it seems like we're all good here. Everything is working as expected. Oh, this is so cool. I think the last time I tried to do a map like this in VR was Haunted Hotel, and that didn't end up working out. I did that in flat screen. But I guess, as with all these maps, ultimately the only thing for us to do is move forward. This music has a way of really growing the building sense of anticipation in dreams, huh? The fear of what's ahead, almost already knowing. And yet, it's so chill because ultimately, we're all wrapped up in a blanket, we just don't know it. But that doesn't look like what we came from, and those stars are growing mighty bright. It's like it's teasing us with an exterior space, but there's just no way for us to reach it. At least, not for now. Did that handprint come from our writer? Did he run into trouble? By the way, lots of games and maps have done the trope of having us follow notes documenting somebody's journey, but I really like the idea of this person being stuck in a liminal space, going through these infinite hallways and rooms. And if they want to have this sort of portable therapy session, they've got to lug around a typewriter. I mean, I bought a fairly small one at a thrift shop last year, and even a small one's pretty heavy. You could do some bludgeoning with this. Actually, I just made an argument for holding on to it. Maybe this guy had the right idea for in case he encounters any entities in here. Ooh. Now here's something I'm not used to seeing in these places, graffiti, and not just a little, but a lot. Of course, I've got to remember that this isn't the back rooms, but something else entirely. It really is just like individual fragments of memories suspended in one place. And the music goes such a long way on these maps because it has that drifting sort of snow globe feel. You always feel like you're just a little wooden figure in a larger diorama. And you're just, I don't know, moving through like a mechanical figurine. And somebody else is watching from above, someone you can't perceive. Found it. Okay, so I guess we were on the right track all along. We've got 2 documents left right here. The writer did not take this with him, but I guess he had to keep coming back here. Well, it makes sense as a base, right? It's got a bed, a nice chair, and something that could almost make you perceive this as normalcy. Imagine waking up here. You look out your window, and for just a moment, everything feels fine. Actually, the music is gone completely, which I always notice because, well, once you do, everything takes on a much eerier tone. The comforting part of the creepy and comfy is gone. Things keep changing. Closer now, just outside. This feels like an attack. A door next to my home. Worse yet, it's unlocked. That was all drywall. How is it here now? I've started exploring the new space. A thin, long, wallpapered hall leading to practically nothing. One door near the start led back to the unfinished construction, through what looks like a cafeteria. I haven't gone farther. Something feels extremely wrong in there. Maybe tomorrow. There's more past that door, but I reached a dead end, thank God. A huge room, plain and empty. A single light bulb dangling. The walls were carpet, almost looking like a rippling pond. I do not want to return here. I'm shutting the door. And I'm looking to open it. You share my sentiment that once you reach the end of an extended pathway, you feel relief. Oh man, but these wrong feelings you keep getting, and the lights flicking on and off, doors opening and closing. I get the feeling there is something more to this that I haven't seen yet. And it's interesting that as the space changes, you interpret that as intention. New things appearing outside your home, you interpret that as an attack. And maybe it is. Maybe this thing is gleeful that it has a new toy to play with. Tried barricading the door. This place doesn't want me to. I prop a chair under the handle, turn around. The chair's in front of me. It's malicious. It's plotting against me, watching while I sleep. If I sleep. Can't help but feel eyes on me in sleep or awake. Now my room has a window. Not just a window. A courtyard just past it. An alley of windows and doors. Just out of my reach. Fake sky to boot. Oh, it's intentionally angular. It's growing, this place. Faster every day. If those even exist. A growing beast that's trying to squeeze me out of my home. The only refuge I have left. I won't stand it. I need to do something. Need to recheck rooms, catalog the changes, and track it. Can't control this place, but I can monitor it. Trace it like the animal it is. Hunt it. Now, that's only of comfort to yourself. It's not like you have any actual ability to do anything about it, even if you do learn something. Still no sign of any other life in this labyrinth. I hope it stays that way. Well, does that mean that we won't receive a warm welcome if we catch up to you? This is a really cool concept, because I always talk about the idea of just picking a comfy space in a liminal area and just kind of hunkering down and staying there. But what happens if that space starts actually trying to force you out, starts changing things to make you uncomfortable? A living location that's capable of gaslighting you and preying on the fears that it causes. This definitely feels like a different kind of environment, one that is much more hostile, even while being so comforting in its visuals. I mean, all these places just feel like home at night. Horror baby! Horror baby, what are you doing here? I told you to use that repelling equipment correctly. You didn't even watch the YouTube video I sent you on how to properly apply it. Well, whatever. It's a good thing you're plastic. Tell you what, why don't we read these other documents? I mean, maybe you didn't try to rescue me. For all I know, you just flushed yourself down the toilet again. They say that if you make just the wrong move, you can no-clip out of reality and into the back rooms. Toilets seem like one place that can happen. Tracking has yielded results. While returning to the Red Room to begin a patrol, I noticed that the half-finished apartment has grown an elevator shaft. Non-functional, but I managed to find a ladder to get down. Going through a door, I found myself in a hedge maze, or rather, a facsimile of one. Fake painted stars on a fake painted sky, with fake hedges, but a welcome change from the gray walls. The hedge maze opens out to another false exterior, containing an almost movie set looking hotel. There's even an entrance, and what looks like a reception beyond that. I'll return to investigate after I finish typing this. It does have an interior, though, as expected, it makes little sense. A lobby leading to nothing but more halls, and strangely enough, including the theater itself. A door I hadn't noticed before. Or maybe it wasn't there? But now I can return to the Red Room from this direction. The patrol is growing longer. I really love how it's exploring the long-term feelings of this. Because after a while, you have to stop just wandering and being confused. You have to start trying to make sense of it. This is somebody who is practically going insane trying to do so, but maybe their hints can help us going forward. It's one of those things where when you take horror and put it under the microscope like this, it allows itself to create even more subtle horror in the implications of what's learned. Okay, horror baby, you just chill over here for a little while. I know it knows about this place, but you'll probably be safest here. Horror baby! Wait a second. No. I can't open a door while I'm holding you. Horror baby, you've discovered duplication! Okay, if I keep doing this, I can raise an army. Okay, the backrooms didn't expect this! An army of babies. I've workshopped the idea, but I never had a viable means until now. There we are. Okay. I'm not going to mess with that too much. This is something we'll save for later. But I'll get on that when I get to it. In the meantime, we've also got to do some exploring. We've got to run where you walked. It's just so chill. Oh, look. Wait, Maine Art Theater gone too soon. 1941 through 2021. A memorial for a building that used to exist and is now gone. Our writer talked about a theater by a hotel. Is it possible that everything in here is actually constructed from places that used to exist but are gone? Maybe there's a sense of sadness about it, or reverence for some place that used to hold so many people, memories, emotions, and then were cast aside. Visit GM Floating Isles, book your trip now. Oh, way ahead of you. By the way, don't take the subway. It's creepy. here's the cafeteria, the food court that they talked about. Like a place from your dreams. Where will it take you? Where are you? GM Fork? GM Fork. Oh, Matthew is gonna love this. I can't help but feel that that's a direct reference to his repeated insistence on the Discord that I play that, even 3 years after I did. Okay, before we move on from here, let's check out what's behind. Nothing much, but this certainly is, ooh, long. Wow. Even just little weird things like that. If I were to lower my light, it is absolutely pitch black in this stairwell. Oh, and we're back to here. Well, I mean, I should have known. He did say that it looped back. I'm so not used to this. I'm so not used to having these little hints at what's ahead. But I have to say, it is helpful, and somebody is messing with me back here. That door didn't open before. Also, it opened by itself. I feel like that's noteworthy. Hey there. I get the impression that you let me in specifically so I could apologize for something, and you're just sitting there giving me the silent treatment until you're satisfied. Unfortunately, I don't know what to apologize for. Stop doing that. My first instinct was to turn around and check on the chair. The thought that immediately pops into my mind when exploring this is that maybe I was like a demolition worker. You know, somebody who knocks down buildings for a living, and this is my punishment, even though it's something that's inanimate on its face. It's like a punishment for killing those memories and all the life that it imbued those places with. Now this is what we call a transitional space. A dark children's room at night, or an upstairs hallway. Both and neither. And here we've not even bothered with the fake sky. Here we are. Here's the real children's room. Maybe I should bring the horror babies here. They seem like they'd probably like it. Although I don't think they like being watched so much. Maybe the presence of this window here. I see you still flickering out there, light. See, those lights are one of the creepiest things on this map because they give the impression that there's someone around the corner that isn't there when you arrive. But anyway, as I was saying, that window kind of makes me think that maybe somebody was here at one point, and it wanted to make sure that they didn't feel safe. I do not feel good about rushing headlong into the dark like this. Okay, and this just brings us back to here, as I suspected. So we're going back now. Locked. Locked, locked, locked. There's that ladder. Okay, we can take this. What about down this? I'm just looking for anything I might have missed. We did this, all right. I'm getting so turned around. There is evidence of a floor above us, but I don't know if we'll be able to reach that. Yep. Whoops. And I love having that confirmation through the note that the elevator isn't real. It's not just something that doesn't function as part of the map, They're actually able to confirm the buttons don't work, it doesn't go up and down. It just looks like an elevator. Look, urinals at various heights, including really, really absurdly tall. Like, I could have sworn I just saw movement. It was directly in front of me, so it wasn't, but man, the aliasing in the headset is what always gets me. Wow, that is one wide stall and one wide stall door. Oh, we're gonna have to take this one by one. Oh, who am I kidding? We don't do this without coming prepared. Safety lock. Here. Ah! Okay, then. In all honesty, that probably was just me closing my hand. These are some very strangely angled stalls. I don't think I've ever actually seen anything like this before. I suppose it works. Wouldn't be my solution, but it works. Or who knows, maybe somebody who came before put that there, and it was actually more functional than whatever these things actually are. A real jerk would put something right in this one. There we go. The way the Source engine handles light is really creepy to me when it comes to mirrors. Rain. I mean, it's a false rain, but rain nonetheless. And lightning as well. I mean, given the silence otherwise, I'm actually tempted to stay here. This is pretty chill. It's empty and bare for the most part, but the boxes, for some reason, actually make that feel normal. I imagine when I buy a house, this is what it's going to feel like the first little while. Nothing much around but a couch and a lamp. And just kind of sitting there and chilling. And even though it's empty and a little spooky, it's yours. Or at least that's what I tell myself, so I can pretend I'm not in a horrible situation for a few moments. Alright, good feelings are over. Good feelings over indeed. Let's wait for the lightning. Imagine if we had just seen the silhouette of a person standing there in that brief flash. God, what this makes me think of with the one overturned chair is that somebody was roped into this with a group of their new friends, you know, people they're not entirely sure about, but they want to fit in. And they think, okay, we're going to play some, like, stupid game, you know, like a summoning ritual or a Ouija board. And at some point during it, things get so off the rails in such a way that no one else is even acknowledging. And finally, the straw that breaks the camel's back, they see something that causes them to flee in terror, tossing the chair over on the way out. Okay, I'm gonna get out of here because this place has worse vibes. I'm starting to really feel a storm. We still got 2 more doors, though. Little alcove in the wall for picture frames and potted plants. This really is giving Grandma's house vibes, especially with that wallpaper. Although I must say, I would really like stuff like this to make a comeback in architecture. I say that all the time on these maps. Make architecture interesting again, not just one big open space and half of it is the kitchen. I like interiors. I like rooms and hallways and doors. This is actually scratching that itch in some ways. Imagine if I just saw the door open behind me, but my own body was blocking whatever did so. Why does this room in the last feel so familiar? We're down here. And we're supposedly standing outside in what is a pretty convincing illusion of an alleyway if you don't pay too much attention. Because if you do, you'll realize there's no crickets or birds or city noises. And probably most telling of all, not even bugs buzzing around the lamps. Oh, it's got such a plasticky feeling to it when you realize all that. I just don't know where to go next, but that's kind of a staple of these. Locked. We could climb the ladder. Oh, wait. How are my horror babies doing? Hey! Hey! If they were sentient, I would probably be asking them to toss over a hook or something attached to a rope. That way we could have a cool little zip line here for an easy fast travel back. By the way, when I say they're sentient, I don't mean they're not alive. I mean, they're babies. What do you expect from them? Look, once we get up close to the sky, and we don't just have the illumination of the stars to take their word for it, we can see that, yes, it really is just a painted ceiling. I thought for a second that was a shadow behind the blinds there. Ow. The soundtrack is starting to take a bit of an eerie turn. It's that low drone that comes in once in a while. This map really knows how to build that sense of anticipation that dreams have, doesn't it? The feeling that you've been here before and you should know what's going to happen. But for some reason you just can't place what it is, and you can't stop yourself from going forward anyway. Look at that, you've got an industrial kitchen right back here. No, not even a kitchen. A whole ventilation system, blurring the line between residential and commercial. Because, you know, that's the real horror of liminal spaces. Improper zoning. The shadows are really apparent when you're going around a spiral staircase's curved wall in the center, huh? Oh, wait. This is clipped. This irregular spiral staircase is clipped. How did you manage? Okay. Well, I don't want to kill the moment, but I am genuinely extremely impressed by that. Okay. See, the thing about a rounded wall, especially on a staircase in the dark, is that it's so much worse than a corner. We go around this corner and we may fear what's around it, but when we get there we can see, with a curved one like that, your anticipation is constant throughout and you have no idea when it's going to finally end. Okay, let's take this opportunity to spin around a few more times to untangle the index cable. All ready for the office party, are we? Oh, look at this. Home by Dylan Packard. Hollow. You know, music has been such a huge thing in each of this creator's maps, and of course they have the talent to back it up. And I think that's really, really huge, because I think music and sound and all of that is what really elevates an experience and is able to impart the required emotion onto it. I mean, sure, you can do all of that with architecture and lighting, but that's how it is for just about everything. I really do think it's sound that ties everything all together. And it's because I think that out of all art forms, music is the closest thing to just beaming an emotion into the audience's head, even if there's room for them to interpret it themselves, and different connotations that they can take away from it. Okay, actual functional dance floor with music. Obviously, I'm going to take advantage of this. Alright, enough of that. I love how that dance was completely unfitting to what was going on with this song. But whatever. I only got one set of moves. I haven't played enough Fortnite to unlock any more. That camera, it just snapped onto me. It's not just moving on like a set path, it's actually following me. Is somebody watching? Well, actually, the feeling of being watched was noted by the writer, who, by the way, we have not found any notes in quite some time. And we also haven't been on their path in quite some time. But then again, a space like this, something that's capable of moving all these things, why would it need to make windows? Why would it need to have cameras if it always knows where we are anyway? Maybe it really is some entity within here. All I could do was start other songs. I don't know if that will mess anything up. Ooh, but we've arrived back here. And the music just kind of stopped on its own. That sort of has me worried that someone's entered the booth. That brief moment of levity, and now I'm scared to walk through here. Okay, we've got a long way to go. Still not opening. But I just keep thinking back to what the author said, that every door on this map will open sooner or later. So if there was ever a place where there was a locked door, we will be back. It's just good to know all this stuff beforehand. Like, granted, I obviously have no problem with traditional liminal spaces, but not only do I like the different style and just approach to the way this world works, but I guess having the level of assurance that it's meant to be taken a certain way and that we will get there, I don't know, it allows me to kind of chill out more and vibe with it the way I feel like this particular set of maps is meant to. So, you had a bad feeling about the red stairs? This doesn't even have a railing. Wow, it's so clipped I'm floating a mile above it. It seems so far away now. Imagine trying to scramble up this with something chasing you. Come on. Come on! Okay. Run, 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 run. Wow, I have thighs of steel. The elliptical is really paying off. What happens if we try to... Nope. Okay, I can't mess with the light switch. Okay, I guess we're going backward for now. But whatever, we'll get to it when we get to it. I just scared the crap out of myself. I did not expect that sideways sliding movement. Oh, right! Huh. We never even finished this hallway. It was a tangent off of a tangent off of a tangent. Off of a tangent. Packard movers. I see what you did there. Well, you are responsible for all of this, so I guess that's technically true. Still, when I come into this dark, windowless room during a storm, I'm only looking around by flashlight, and the only thing is a stack of boxes just tall enough for someone to hide behind. Well, I gotta put my attention on the one place someone could hide. Also, warning, fragile memories contained within. It seems all at once like a cute thing for a moving company to put on their boxes, and very literal in this context. See, the area with the storm ambiance is the most cozy to me. Sure, it's got its spookiness, but, you know, at least it's got its natural lullaby. Here we are. We have our shortcut. You step out there and the rain ambiance just immediately stops. It's almost as if it knows that you've stepped away and it just doesn't care to use those resources anymore. Every time you think you've reached the end, I like the idea of this. I like the idea of a hallway that is long and dark and creepy, and every time you think you've reached the other side, it just keeps extending itself. Okay, now we've got some music to help us out with this. Always gotta check. Oh, hey, we get an early preview to the fact that the hallway is continuing to extend itself. Still, things are getting a bit cozier towards this side. I mean, the only super creepy thing about this whole place has been the seance circle. Ooh. Look at this. Yes, 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 yes. I want this place so bad. Look, a multi-level library? Mine. Absolutely mine. I am moving into the liminal space. The ladder is a bit unsafe, but if we can just try this out floor by floor, look, it's even got little candles burning with an uncharacteristically huge flame. We can't move this, which is probably for the best. The fire risk is astronomical. I will say, though, imagine if the lights were off, there was just a faint glow from the lights of the hallway, and you saw a silhouette watching you from up there. I would have a rule, all doors must be closed behind you in this place. By the way, imagine how creepy that would be, you know? You're staying as a guest in some place with this kind of architecture, and you're only given one rule. All doors must be closed behind you. I like the fact that we can still hear the rain in here. Ooh. But it's just more house for however illogical these windows are starting to be. Whoa. Quantum Dylan, you sure do love your balconies. Whoa. There's just an endless trench separating this place. I am so far off track. Darwin? Darwin, what are you doing here? The life and times of Darwin, it's actually you! Hey, buddy! Oh, this is kind of like the hidden comfy room on the Macy State Psychiatric map. Hey, buddy, look at you, your mouth agape. You're like, hey, what are you doing here? Ah, that is so funny. All right, let's read what's here. Ooh, wow, you just locked my view. Hollow. Upon a barren hill, a since-dead tree stood. Memories of life since past, clinging, haunting. Fragments fall like crystal rain, disturbing long-resting pools. Rhythmic, dull impacts. A now live tree stands. Crystalline memories shatter, life slowly freezing, replaced by translucent shapes. A hollow prismatic trunk. Upon a lucent hill, a reborn crystal stands. Forever still, immortal. Haunting is right, but beautiful. And I guess comforting in its way. Chris! It's been some time since our last correspondence. These projects seem to get larger and larger, don't they? I've included a study for your comfort. Aw, thank you! I think you'll find it quite accommodating, if not a little disproportionate. There is an adjoining unit, but I'll be honest, its spatial stability is questionable at best. Non-Euclidean space is all the rage, I hear. And in this economy, who can complain? Not me, certainly not me. Oh, you couldn't see it because I'm in this view, but I was rubbing my hands together. Do be cautious. There's some dimensional bleed occurring in there, so proceed carefully. It's difficult to bring things into this place without opening the door to something else. Keeping that door closed is even harder, but I think we'll manage. I've been using the typewriter in the downstairs office for a time, working on some poetry. Apologies if I've left any around. I was in a hurry to get to my next stop. Your work is invaluable, so I'll leave you to it. This shifting place should make a fine abode for an individual such as yourself. I imagine you'll feel right at home. Oh, I do. Just remember, stay vigilant. These halls are quiet, but they're also deceptive, as if they're filled with echoes of a time since past. A shaped memory, if you will, like a well-worn mattress or a threadbare shirt. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to see me in the gallery. I'm working on setting an exhibition up there, though I'm not sure I'll get much foot traffic. Not exactly a lively place. Until then, enjoy, Mummy. Your ally beyond the threshold, Dylan. Thank you, and this is so cool. And I like how, to whoever else finds this, it kind of gives a bit of story to the map, you know? I mean, the idea that it's all been consciously left. Maybe the person who came before was an intruder in this realm, or someone who was never meant to be here and had to be shaken out through some other means. A map creator purposely changing things around an explorer just to ensure that they find the exit. Of like a caretaker of this place, you know? Of someone who oversees these things. but a kindly one, you know? Sort of reminds me of certain figures in the Alan Wake or Remedyverse. Hello? A string of numbers. A string of numbers I could barely make out. And it could have just been further numbers, but I swear somewhere in there I heard FBC. I'm just drawing off a precedent from earlier maps. Nothing over here. I feel like I've really jumped the gun by getting here this early, though. Yep, now was the perfect time to talk about the Remedyverse, wasn't it? We've got our own little writer's room here. He sat at the typewriter, staring as the bars collide with the something pattern. A flurry of gunmetal and sharp staccato tapping. The bell rings. The carriage returns. A new line is started. The errors, the ink, the whir of the belt-driven mechanism snapped him awake suddenly. How long had he sat here, transfixed by the words appearing on the page? Was the machine working under its own influence? Or was he to blame? His brow furrowing, the writer bolted away from the desk. He must leave. Something wasn't right. The windows, they all seemed wrong. The floorboards warping, sliding under his feet like a fish out of water, his sea legs betraying his growing unease. The door. Where's the door? The room darkened. Or maybe it was just his vision dimming. Stress and anxiety bleeding. The writer knew he had to act fast. A room can't live, can't think, can't plan. It's a construct, you tell yourself. A physical space hewn by hands no longer seen. Can a construct feel? Can it hate? The writer only knew that this particular room loathed him. The sense of hostility worsened. Without warning, the room contracted, halving in size, with the creaking and splintering of wood. Shards of board and nail flew at the writer. The room would soon be his tomb without intervention. In one last desperate attempt, the writer turned again to the machine before him on the desk. There was one thing he could do. It was write. He sat at the typewriter, staring as the bars collide with the platen, a flurry of gunmetal and sharp staccato tapping. The bell rings. The carriage returns. A new line is started. The errors, the ink, the whir of the belt-driven mechanism. A dawning sense of déjà vu creeps into your mind, like a half-forgotten nightmare clinging to the shadows. We are the writer. We are in a room. The room darkened. That is horrifying.
He sat at the typewriter, staring as the bars collide with the platen, a flurry of gunmetal and sharp staccato tapping. The bell rings, the carriage returns, a new line is started. The airs, the ink, the whir of the belt-driven mechanism snapped him awake suddenly. How long had he sat there, transfixed by the words appearing on the page? Was the machine working under its own influence, or was he to blame? His brow furrowing, the writer bolted away from the desk. He must leave. Something wasn't right. The windows, they all seemed wrong, the floorboards warping and sliding under his feet. Like a fish out of water, his sea legs betraying his growing unease. The door.
Look at
Where
that.
was the door? The room darkened, or maybe it was just his vision dimming. Stress and anxiety building, the writer knew he had to act fast. A room can't live, can't think, can't plan. It's a construct, you tell yourself. A physical space hewn by hands no longer seen. Can a construct feel? Can it hate? The writer only knew that this particular room loathed him. The sense of hostility worsened. Without warning, the room contracted, halving in size with the creaking and splintering of wood. Shards of board and nail flew at the writer. The room would soon be his tomb without intervention. In one last, desperate attempt, the writer turned again to the machine before him on the desk. If there was one thing he could do, it was write. He sat at the typewriter, staring as the bars collide with the platen, a flurry of gunmetal and sharp staccato tapping. The bell rings, the carriage returns, a new line has started. The errors, the ink, the whir of the bell-driven mechanism snap. A dawning sense of deja vu creeps into your mind, like a half-forgotten nightmare clinging to the shadows. We are the writer. We are in a room. The room darkened.
So not only is that a really cool homage to Alan Wake, while also doing its own thing simultaneously, that was a perfect encapsulation of nightmare logic. It's just what I've been talking about, of feeling like you've been here before, of knowing what's going to happen, but unable to stop any of it, being an observer of your own horrors. Also, even though I was able to read it on my own, I still grabbed it in the end because I suspected that there would be some sort of trigger relating to this, and I did not want to leave without at least trying, so I am very glad that I did. I would have missed out on the best part of the map. I can just imagine you watching this and your absolute panic, thinking like, no, no, no! Well, we got there in the end. But we've got further exploration to do. Darwin, just hold down the fort for me, okay? I'll be back. Oh, wow. Oh. Huh, wait. That... Why don't we see what's down below? Or actually, wait. I'm trying to limit backtracking as much as possible, even if that's maybe the wrong attitude for this map. Weren't there other doors that were still yet to be opened here? Well, there was this. It's not a mirror. It feels like a mirror, but it's not a mirror. No. Oh, that threw me off for a second. Ready for our meeting. You know what vision just hopped into my head when I came in here? Like, I didn't just have this idea. I saw it in my mind's eye, filmed as if it were like an 80s movie, like House or something. I imagined a view from that side of the room and seeing myself walking in, and out of focus in the dark of the background, seeing some indistinct shape start to stir and move and peek out from behind the boxes and walk towards me. Oh, there's always more. But the door's opening is a little less threatening now that I know the place was made for me. We're back here! It's the red bar! It actually is what you talked about in your documents. It just took us a really long time to get here, so long that I had basically forgotten about it. This door remains locked. Tell you what, before we go see the lower level of the library, how about we go try and track down that piano? Launch menu, beverages, dinner menu. That is so goofy. I love it. Especially in a place like this. I really love, like, just stupid humor like that in amid genuine horror. Oh, but I hate the idea of looking in one counter window and just seeing another restaurant out the back. Borger, Borgler, Barg, Bun, no Berg, Humpta, Kolta, is all $6, of course, $5. Cokie Coli, Coke Uncut, Mug Moment, literal cocaine, Borgor Fancy, Borgler Fancy, just the fancy variants of all these, Humpta Cool, and Kolta Hot. It's another of these. Oh, I see. That's why we couldn't look at the other one. It's just an example for this. This is the one we read at the beginning. All right, cool. These are all written in such a way where, like, it kind of tells the story regardless of which way you go first. I like that for an adventure map, it still captures the essence of this by having locked doors, but it's not linear. You have choices in where you go, and the notes do account for that. Huh. It's like walking down the halls of a theater, but the theater itself is the attraction. GM After Hours. Welcome to a vague collection of Southeast Michigan locations, and also some others. This map always knows just the right moments to go silent. Oh no. See, I was thinking that like right on the other side of this would just be another restaurant, but look at that, a wholly inaccessible part of the kitchen. And in true liminal fashion, taking up entirely too much space. With a row of machines that look like they're watching you. You know, I really do think the brave little toaster did something to this generation, for better or for worse. Turned us all into hoarders, for one thing. This map called my bluff. I walked up to this thinking, okay, well, there's clearly nothing out there. And then it acknowledged that, but it invited me to go see anyway. Maybe a little later. I don't feel up to it right now. And again, do I really feel up to this? Every once in a while, I have to lower my light and just appreciate the darkness. That doesn't seem possible. Wait, what? Well, we're in the movie theater. We're in the empty, silent halls of a place that feels like it shouldn't exist, and it doesn't anymore. But it did. Quiet contemplation at GM Memory Encyclopedia. What is all this? Are these maps the coming attractions? The current viewing experiences on display? Beautiful views, lower prices. Book GM Cabin. I certainly would, or at least I'd consider it until I'm halfway through the process and all the hidden fees add up. For example, the Axe Murderer. Parallax. Okay, well, let's take this one at a time. Why does this feel so familiar? Like, I know that happens to me from time to time on these maps, but I walk in here and, like, I swear I've seen exactly this before. More green exit signs keep appearing, almost like this structure is leading me on some senseless chase. But the ones that appeared near reception actually lead somewhere. Following the signs through more curving halls, I found the red room. The locked door. It led to the hotel. How long has this place been here? I was so close to it so many times. How did I find it now? Maybe the structure wants me to see things a certain way. a particular perspective. Maybe that gives it too much agency, too much credence. Good to find more connections. Makes it easier to move and keep moving. I swear I keep hearing footsteps, but I know it's all in my head. It has to be in my head. I won't accept otherwise. Is any of this real? Is all of it? All right. You can't help but attach intention, not after everything you've been through. I mean, it is all quite clearly directing you. But you think you heard someone else? Is it possible that you actually heard me? Just in a different place and time, but in the same space, and somehow those wires got crossed. Here we are. It's what he talked about. There is actually a car over here. Of course, I can't imagine it's in any state to drive, and even if it could, where would I go? This whole thing, I'm sure, is entirely self-contained. Well, self-contained except for that opening over there. So hidden away in the corner. Look. This almost feels like it's welcoming me. Well, maybe not. Okay, we're gonna use the flashlight for this one. Look at that. Because the sky is fake, there's actually a section where there are no stars on it. Which means or at least no glowing stars, and that means we're just walking off into the darkness. Even though the sky itself continues. Here we are, we found the exit, but of course we're not leaving without checking every path. That's the dark way. That's the no way. Even ends right at the sky. And that's our way. Back here! The thing I can't help but notice is that these notes, they use a lot of my language. It's the kind of thing that almost leads me to believe that it was me writing them and I simply have amnesia of writing them in the first place. But we always find ourselves back where we started, no matter what. There's a creeping feeling that the person I've been trying to chase down is myself. The person I've been alternately desperate to see and afraid of encountering. But then again, things work differently here, so who knows if we can understand it that way. Here we are. Although it all just kind of connects. This actually bounces us back from the edge. I don't know if there's some kind of trigger there or something that hasn't loaded in. We could potentially jump down there. Doesn't seem like the wisest thing at this time. There's things back the other way that I would like to see. So let's go for those first. Darwin, you still keeping over there? Oh, come on, you are the definition of relaxed. When you look up the word relaxed in the dictionary, your picture is right next to it. In fact, that book on the table is probably just the word relaxed over and over again, next to various pictures of you. Just look at that. We look up at this night sky that is so promising from the view of the window, but when you're out here, you can actually see the corners. I'm sorry, that didn't happen before. And also, who stopped it? It's like somebody up here in one of these windows was looking down and pressed their key. I love how over here you can actually see the red glow of that hotel sign on the stars. It's one of those things where when you start combining imagery, you get combinations that you didn't ever think possible. But all right, we've explored quite a lot. Now let's see just where this leads us. Come on. Exit. I'm not sure I'm ready yet. I want to go see more of the theater. I feel like I missed a lot. But these hallways are so looping and winding. And these curved edges make it even worse because it makes it feel like you're, in a way, like you're turning more than you really are. I haven't even seen the screens yet. Right, you said something about the projector. It's blinding me. But it doesn't seem like I can reach through and do anything with you. There is a door behind you. A silent and empty movie theater screen. Now, that's something creepy. And sadly, it's something that I've been experiencing more and more. I mean, dead malls used to be something almost unthinkable when I was a kid. And now it's practically every mall, it seems like. I worry that the same is happening with movie theaters. I mean, they are trying, they're kind of more focused on the experience, but I feel like every one of the last, 10 movies I've been to, there's been practically nobody in the theater. Oh, one! And that could be a good thing. But also, it makes me worry that we won't have them soon. Oh, we've come out over here. Step into history on Trouble in Terrorist Town, Van Gogh. Ooh, this is wibbly. It's not an island. It's a labyrinth. Floating Isles in theaters 2025. I've seen that one. It was pretty cool. We've got to try each of these. See what's beyond. I'm guessing that all these doors are not going to be accessible. But there must be a reason why all these screens exist. Well, beyond our viewing pleasure. Look, these little concession stands in the hallways behind the screens that are in every movie theater, but I've never actually seen manned. I swear I've seen this place before. In another life, maybe. Dream Desert. Huh. Now I can't help but think back to just now when all those ceiling tiles collapsed. Maybe somebody was scrambling around on top. When the lights go out, pray nobody's home. On guard. That was also such a cool map, and it is so cool, these little homages to all these various other maps. Bright, shining metropolis of tomorrow, GM Golden City. Still life in concrete, GM Frame. Eat chicken now, that's Brutalist KFC, even if it is one of those minimalist posters that doesn't actually say the title. Cyan Dream Pools. Where am I? It's nice here. The future's uncertain. The past is clear. Visit GM Frutiger Lobby today. I guess I can take these as some really elaborate suggestions. Warm glow of GM Amber Metro. You know, earlier this month, I was visiting my girlfriend Elster, and one of the things we did a lot was almost every day we would go to the movie theater and see a movie because tickets were so much cheaper than what I was used to where she lives. I live in New York, I'm pretty sure, and granted this was the high end, but I think I paid something like $25 to see a movie once. A true classic. Visit GM Big City. Over there, $11. $11 a pop. And granted, that's probably more than it used to be. Some old people would probably spit their fake dentures at it, but I was in heaven that whole time. A great selection this year, too. I mean, movies for the past, 6 years or so, I feel like ever since 2019, there's just so many great ones coming out. After me being used to just most movies being kind of bad throughout, the 2000s. Feels wrong. Like a real David and Goliath, me pushing my flashlight into that bright projection booth. I'm also definitely going to have vision damage after this. Kinda not supposed to do this. Brutalist Desolation. Okay, have we gone full circle? That door was open, it would seem to imply that. But man, you can totally get lost back here. Oh, which brings me to another point. When I was over there visiting her, it had, the biggest theater I've ever seen. There were so many back hallways like this, so many screens, more than I've ever seen here. And yet there was, no one there. It was very, very strange. I really hope movie theaters aren't the next mall. They have done things to try and reinvent the experience, stuff like 4DX, which I saw Top Gun Maverick that way, and it was amazing. It was less amazing in the trailers, seeing stuff like Buzz Lightyear, and it was okay, I can't imagine this being useful for something like that. And those things don't hold back either. For those who don't know, it's like a simulator seat, but it's your movie theater seat, and those things kick like crazy. I was what do you do if you want to get up and go to the bathroom or come back with snacks too late? I'm surprised I haven't heard about anybody getting hurt on those things, but this says exit. There's only so far we can go. But really, I probably wouldn't really step much further than that anyway. I swear I just heard a click. Whatever. Oh, hey, we didn't open this door. Oh. Another endlessly extending hallway. Cool. But here's how we reach the back. Maybe I'm tempting fate here. We were really lucky. We were there at a time when there was just a great selection of movies in theaters. And we had Sinners, Final Destination, Friendship. Ooh. Don't want to get locked in this freezer. But yeah, we've really just made our way back between these things. Please be sure to turn off lights when you leave this area. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like I can interact with this one, so I'm gonna have to feel your wrath when you realize I haven't. Man, how is there room for all this back here? Ooh. I think I found the garbage disposal. I was hoping for a pit. It would mean that I'm not obliged to see what's down there, but now I am. Ugh. Waist-high water beneath the theater. All this hot dog and popcorn grease pooling. So this is what they do with it. So here's what I saw. See those lights on the top of the frame of the forklift? I saw those as eyes of some giant monster. Oh, this is the worst music. You want to help me out right now? Because there's dreamlike comfiness, and this ain't it. This is just waiting for some horrific rotted monstrosity to spring up out of the water in front of me. I don't believe you. I believe there's something, but I don't believe it's a way I want to. Oh God, it's getting deeper. Luckily, it's water, and I can choose to float my own boat. But we're gonna have to go down below. Well, that was awful. God, and the worst part about this is that all of it is just contained under the movie theater. I don't know what that red sign meant. Maybe that I'm free to move on now. Okay, well, I will look this way just to see. Is this where the refuse is tossed down? Oh my God, I just walked right over a pit. A pit which I will be ignoring right now. Oh, there's a whole other thing down here. The chimes. Those now familiar chimes. The chimes which indicate I may have triggered a trigger.